天的修为，比穆老还要高出一筹。
这次的胜战，
一号，快走开！薛老主人若不想赏下，没办法了。我不怕他。
Huo Yuhao obtained his 7th ring from the 100,000-year-old evil-eyed tyrant. Meanwhile, the attack of the soul beasts on Shrek Academy continues. The trailer showed Tian, a massive dragon, confronting Xuan Zi in his Taotai bull form. So, what lies ahead? Huo Yuhao had just defeated the evil-eyed tyrant and barely managed to escape when a thunderous roar echoed across the forest. The furious father of the evil-eyed tyrant was looking for his son's killer. This terrifying entity was the Evil Emperor, the dictator of the Forest of Evil and one of the most powerful soul beasts on the continent. His mental scream distorted the entire region. Many soul beasts collapsed under the sheer pressure. Huo Yuhao realized that the evil-eyed tyrant had been telling the truth. His father truly existed and had now awakened. From the depths of the forest, a massive blood-red pillar of light rose into the sky, staining everything crimson. At the top of the pillar appeared a gigantic blood-colored eye. Through this eye, the evil emperor began searching for traces of his son. He used mental waves to track residual energy in the soul ring that Huo Yuhao had stored in his tool. Huo Yuhao understood he had been discovered. He tried to disguise himself using imitation and spiritual interference, but it wasn't enough. A red beam of light shot from the eye in the sky and struck the area where he was hiding. The strike was devastating. Everything within a 1,000-meter radius was obliterated. Forest, earth, and all vegetation vanished. It seemed that nothing could have survived. But at the center of the destruction, a person emerged from beneath the ground, covered in dirt, clothes torn, Huo Yuhao. He was alive, though barely. His spiritual sea had been completely depleted, and his body was on the verge of collapse, but he survived. He was saved thanks to a skull bone he had received from Wang Qiu'er. This skull bone granted him the ability mental immunity, allowing him to ignore any mental attack 3 times a day. It was this ability that saved him from the evil emperor's wrathful strike. Absorbing the evil-eyed tyrant's skull bone helped him recover a little strength, but he had to flee immediately. He activated his silver wrist guard, part of his spiritual armor suit, which boosted his defense and speed. This armor was specially created for him by Xuan Zi and included miniature energy sources. Huo Yuhao sped off, determined to escape the forest and find a safe place to absorb the ring and officially become a spirit master with 7 rings. At that moment, in the Tang sect, Bei was furious. The others had returned 3 days ago, but there was still no news of Huo Yuhao. He was supposed to return earlier but had gone missing. Neither the Tang sect nor Shrek Academy knew his whereabouts. Meanwhile, tensions between the Sun Moon Empire and the other nations were rising rapidly. Bei knew Huo Yuhao was more important than any hostage, and the disappearance of his junior brother filled him with deep concern. On the southern side of Shrek City, a massive black cloud was approaching, a harbinger of a large-scale invasion by soul beasts from the Great Stardow Forest. Despite many years of peace, Shrek City swiftly mobilized its defenses. Spirit masters, regular soldiers, students of Shrek Academy, and teachers all took up their positions, preparing for battle. Leading the beast horde was the beast god Tian, whose army of over 100,000 beasts advanced with terrifying discipline. This was no ordinary attack. Everything pointed to a full-scale war. The elders of the Sea God's Pavilion arrived at the city wall, including Elder Xian, one of the strongest spirit masters. He rose into the sky to confront Tian and uncover the reason for the assault. Tian accused humans of relentlessly hunting soul beasts. But the true cause of the invasion was the death of the 3-eyed golden lion, the imperial beast and one of the most important beings in the forest. Tian claimed the lion had become a soul ring for a human and blamed Shrek Academy, specifically a student named Huo Yuhao, who had once interacted with the lion. Elder Xian was shocked. He knew how important the 3-eyed golden lion was and suspected that Huo Yuhao might indeed have been the one the beast trusted. But he refused to hand over his student and decided to defend Shrek City at all costs. At this point, Huo Yuhao wasn't even at the academy. He had gone to hunt the evil eye. The Soul Beast army reached the city walls. In the front lines were decade and century-old beasts, not the strongest, but used as cannon fodder. However, from atop the walls, salvos of Zhuge divine crossbow cannons of the 6th class rained down on them. It was the first massive volley, and the warriors of Shrek City were stunned by its power. Their morale, shaken until that moment, surged again. The soldiers, shouting, "For Shrek!" prepared for another volley. Suddenly, a figure rose above the beast army. Bai Ji, the Emerald Swan. Her appearance brought forth a radiant life force. Under her light, injured beasts healed, and soul rings that had already left the bodies of the fallen dissolved, amplifying her aura. Soon, the beasts stood up again and resumed their assault. Though she had not initially supported the attack, Bai Ji now declared she would fight, because humans had become increasingly dangerous. Their destructive weapons now posed a threat to the survival of the entire beast race. Elder Song, a rank 97 expert and one of Shrek's strongest defenders, flew into the sky. She recognized Bai Ji, the kindest of all beasts, a healer who had never fought. But now she wondered, if beasts value their lives so much, do they also value human lives? Shrek was defending itself, not attacking. Elder Song launched an attack, but was stopped by a violet light. An attack from Tian, the leader of the soul beasts and the first among the 10 great beasts. His power was overwhelming. Even Elder Xian, battling in the sky, was defeated and fell from the heavens, struck by a mighty wave of energy. As Tian rushed in to finish Elder Xian, a golden light burst through the sky. It was the dragon god Douluo Mu'en, the former leader of the Shrek 7 Devils. Although he had died, a part of his soul and power remained. He saved Xian, then struck Tian back with one blow. Their strengths clashed in the air, and the whole world seemed to freeze, watching the confrontation. Mu'en reminded everyone that Shrek must never be insulted, that all 7 devils had become gods, and even in death, he would protect the city. Tian was shocked. He didn't believe Mu'en could still resist. He said, "What do I have to fear? I'll destroy your soul to avenge the 3-eyed golden lion." But even he felt the suppressing power radiating from the golden dragon. Tian, a powerful being who had cultivated for 800,000 years and whose strength nearly reached the divine realm. To restrain Tian, Elder Mu'en, before his death, had placed his final hopes in Xuan Zi, a man possessing the incomplete bloodline of the dragon god's 5th son, Taotai. With the help of Mu'en's spiritual power, the power of the golden tree, an ancient artifact guarding Shrek City, and the Taotai bloodline, Elder Xian transformed into a Taotai form. This form possessed a bloodline surpassing Tian's, allowing him to block his devastating attack. In the battle, Taotai absorbed Tian's myriad tongues of dragon flame, and then absorbed Tian himself. But with it, the protection of the golden tree faded, opening the path for the rest of the Soul Beast army. Shrek Academy and its Spirit Master army entered full-scale defense mode, using Zhuge divine crossbow cannons, explosive and incendiary bombs, protective barriers, and stationary spiritual cannons. The Tang sect, led by Bei, fought on the front lines. At this time, Huo Yuhao was still missing. Everyone hoped he would return in time to help turn the tide of battle. The fight continues. The first wave of soul beasts has been repelled, but the real threat remains. The core forces of the forest have not yet entered the fray. What will happen next? We'll explore that in upcoming videos. Please like, comment, and subscribe. That's the best support you can give. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.